We need lettuce. Okay, lettuce is on aisle 1, but we're on aisle 17. How do we get to lettuce aisle 1? We're not going to have to go past all these aisles. If we go down the back end, it looks like there's less traffic back there. Let's go back. Jaman, yeah, Jaman. I hope you like a Jaman too. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Jamancast, episode 4. So glad to have you. So glad to be here. It's going to be a quick episode today. And that's a lie. It's going to be a long episode today. But the small stuff, the things that I am excited to talk about, the things that have been happening to me, and the things that have been going on in the video game industry and the news of the week, is going to be a short segment. The long stuff is going to be the interview. I got a beautiful interview today. So I want to jump right into what's news, everyone. Let's talk about it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is, of course, World of Warcraft and Classic WoW. So there was a Reddit post on the Classic WoW subreddit by the user Lazy Woods, and I really identified with this post, and it got upvoted a lot, so I feel like a lot of people identified with this post. So it's the first time ever, and I'm going to read this for you guys. This is Lazy Woods' words. First time ever, I will be playing WoW day 1. No thousands of 60s hanging about, no guild raids on cities, empty auction house, everyone at the same stage. I will be at the start of a new MMO world, and that excites me more than anything. I cannot wait to shape this new era with you all. Just so excited to be a part of all of this, and I'm glad we now have communities like these to easily share that. I think that's an amazing thing to think about. And I think that's truly the most special thing about World of Warcraft Classic, is that it's a fresh server, right? In Diablo 3, you have new seasons every couple months, right? You have a new character. You get to restart everything. World of Warcraft Classic is that on an insane scale. Everything will be fresh on these servers. Everybody will be playing from the same level at the same beginning time. Of course, in a month or two, it won't be that way, right? People will have obviously made 60. If you make a character in 2 months, it's not going to be the same as if you started on the first day. But starting on the first day, everything's going to be fresh on the server. There's going to be no person that has a control on the mineral market, a guy who has all the gold. There's not going to be one guy who you go to for your enchants. Everyone's going to have to figure that out. Everyone's going to have to figure out who's going to be the first person to get Crusader. And how much are you going to be able to give people Crusader enchants? That's what I'm excited to be about to see. We're going to see all sorts of new, fresh things. And I just can't wait. Classic WoW, man. I could go on and on about it, but I just thought that post was really a highlight of something that we need to discuss, that needs to be said, because that's really special. That's something that everyone should know, and something to think about for Classic WoW. Like, why is Classic WoW special? Not just re-experiencing vanilla WoW and everything it offered, but also the idea of a server that's completely fresh. That's an official server. It's not a private server. It's really a beautiful thing. And the next thing I want to talk about is Blizzard adding a new game time deal in their store, and how you guys feel about this. Tell me how you feel. Please send me a Twitter. Send me something. Talk to me. Tell me what you think about this. Blizzard added a new game time deal in their store. If you purchase 6 months of game time, or if you subscribe for 6 months in one big chunk, they will give you the new Silverian Dreamer mount. And so the 6 months of game time goes for $77.94, or £65.94, whatever the change is for Europe. I actually don't know that. Is that euros? 65 euros? It's basically $78. Okay, we're going to talk in US dollaros. We're going to talk in freedom units. Okay. I apologize, European people. I love you. I do. You can also purchase the mount separately for $25. Is this a good deal? There's some people that are upset about this. I personally won't take it. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to commit to 6 months of game time to a game that I don't know if I'm going to be playing in 6 months. I did it twice with Heroes. I bought a 1-year boost with Heroes of the Storm. No added benefits, just a boost. And I feel like I shouldn't have both times, because within 3-4 months I stopped playing, and then I would jump back on and I'd be like, oh, my boost is still running. I totally forgot about that. And then when it runs out, they offer the next year's boost, and I'm like, oh yeah. that's a good idea. And then I do it, and then it's a waste of money. I really shouldn't. But this does give you a little mount. So if you're going to buy the mount for $25, maybe just buy the game time for $75, because then you get the game time plus the mount for the same. I mean, it makes sense if you know you're going to play. If you're 100% going to play for 6 months straight, then get the mount. Why not? But otherwise, it's a little bit questionable. A little bit, am I going to be playing this game in 6 months? I don't know. Should Blizzard do this? Is this a thing? Of course they should. I feel like, why not? Why shouldn't they? It's going to make them some money. It's not ethically wrong. I feel like it's just something to give you a little taste. You want to do that? You want to do that? We'll give you this. What do you think? Sounds good? If you agree to that, go ahead, man. Vote with your wallet. And then the last thing I'm going to get to, and this is a very short segment because, honestly, the interview I had this week went for a very long time, so I don't want to take up too much time just talking about news and everything that's going on. But this is more a Twitch streamer news. Twitch just revealed into beta now they're going to have subscriber streams. So they launched this new feature that you can have a stream where only subscribers can participate. And then if someone shows up to your stream while you're in a subscriber-only stream, it'll give them a small preview of what's happening and then tell them, please sub if you want to continue watching, or to jump into the actual stream content, you have to sub. There seems to be a lot of people upset about this, but you have to realize that Twitch is constantly adding new things and removing old things. They always have to be iterative. Not everything they launch is going to be the, holy crap, this is amazing, we need to use this feature. But they have to make them because they have to continue to expand their platform. They don't want to stagnate. They want to keep creating things, new tools for their creators to use. Now, is this on the line of a bad idea or good idea? I think it's right in the middle, right? Some people are going to love this. Some people are going to hate this. I personally will never use it, first off, because I don't have that many subscribers. But second, even if I did, there's nothing that being a sub, for me, in my idea of a community, it wouldn't be enjoyable. It would feel like I'm leaving people out. These people that just want to enjoy me and enjoy what I'm doing, the people that give me money and subscribe to me are special in their own right. They're amazing people. Thank you so much to all the people who do that. But there's no reason to exclude people. I'm not giving away anything that's that meaningful, right? I'm not selling something and saying, okay, only people who pay me get to see this. And there's nothing I have that's worth putting behind a paywall like that. I think the way it's set up right now is better. We'll see if this is the way it goes. It feels more like cable and the way you pay for something to get access to something. If a program is that intentional, like that amazing, then they're probably going to sell it off-site and sell it for like a YouTube channel, like an unlisted video, right? And give you access to it. It'll be like a premium service, something you can buy. It's kind of hard to have a free service and then also have a premium service and then run them at the same time. How do you have a free sub and then, hey, Tuesdays are sub-only days and we talk about video games, and it's like, it's the same thing, but only subscribers get to see. So there's got to be something different, a way to differentiate what's going on in the subscriber-only streams that make it worth having a subscriber-only stream. Because if you have a subscriber-only stream, it's hard to be discovered by people. It's hard to give them a reason to watch you. If you're in sub-only mode, then someone's not going to click on you. Someone's not going to experience what you have to offer. It's like being a street performer and then charging people to watch you. You have to be really good, and you have to have a really good reputation to be able to pull that off. And you wouldn't do that. You would just go somewhere else and make people pay tickets to watch you, right? As a street performer, you could just go get a stage show in Vegas or something if you're that popular. It's similar to that. I'm standing on a street corner and I put a big curtain up around me and then I make people pay to come in. Okay. I mean, you could do that, But is that the best way? What is the benefit to the streamer and what is the benefit to the audience? And where does that line land? So it's an interesting thing. It's definitely something that happened, so I think we should talk about it. I think it's worth talking about and worth discussing. And so that's why I put it in. And so that's it. There's only 3 little things for this week because this interview is a nice doozy of an interview. But before we get to that interview, I'm going to tell you what I've been up to. And so let's transfer on over to that segment. Take it away, Jamin. Jamin, oh, Jamin. You're listening to Jamincast. Thanks, Jamin. Thanks for the passing to this new segment we have going on here. It's what I've been up to, boys. I haven't found a creative name like What's News for it, but what have I been doing? What have I been up to over the past week? And streaming, mostly I was leveling Raoden for a bit. I think I got to level 55 with him by now. And then the 8.2 patch dropped on Tuesday for Rise of Ashara in World of Warcraft. So that's what we're going to be talking about, World of Warcraft. The first thing that happened was there was a portion where you have to go to High Mountain and you have to talk to Ebonhorn outside of one of the instances, and he teleports you inside. But that small portion, there was like 1,000 Alliance and 1,000 Horde, and they were just all spamming AoEs on the quest giver. It was almost impossible to do anything because of how laggy the server was. Eventually, I got through it. I think I got like 3 or 4 HKs because that all gave me like 1 honor. But, you know, it happened. It was an interesting launch day for 8.2. So much. I felt so overwhelmed with how much there was to do. And also, I felt really compelled in how nice it was to get this gear that was the benthic gear. It surprised me, right? I don't right now have a raiding guild or a 5-man guild or anything or people that I'm running with. I'm just kind of playing and enjoying the solo content. And it surprised me how nice the benthic gear is. And getting the mana pearls and rolling new benthic gear and trying to get the versatility benthic gear because somewhere online I read that versatility is a really good stat for elemental shamans. So I'm rolling versatility benthic gear and then seeing what little things I get and then trying to improve those with mana pearls and deciding, do I use this piece? Do I put this benthic mana pearls up? Do I do this, and this? And then at what point am I ready to say to someone, hey, give me a chance, man. Let me join in your mythic runs. And then how do I even go about doing that? And at what point, what item level do I say, like, hey, I'm ready? And then getting the new trinket from Mechagon. Mechagon was really cool. I actually really love the music in Mechagon. Like, the in-game music in Mechagon is amazing. Especially when you go up on the nature area where there's all the elks, I think they are. There's like this really beautiful soundtrack that comes out. And I honestly love that soundtrack, whatever it is. I wish I could listen to it all the time. It's really beautiful. For Nazjatar, it's another one of these things that I feel like in Legion started. It's so three-dimensional that once I get flying, it's going to be a pinch. Like, it's going to be a cinch. Excuse me, a pinch, a cinch. A cinch pinch, really, is what it is. Once I get flying, it's going to be so easy to navigate. So I'm looking forward to flying. I popped on my Champions of Azeroth. What is it? Every time you complete a world quest, get 10 rep with Champions of Azeroth because I never want to do those quests. I never want to go do world quests like for a reputation. I did it for Zandalar. I did it for Honorbound. And I don't really want to do world quests for reputation right now, which is exactly what I'm doing for Nazjatar and for Mechagon. But for some reason, because those are new content, because I've never done those quests before, because it doesn't feel like a daily, I'm not repeating things yet, it's interesting, it's fun, it's enjoyable. Mechagon's really interesting as a zone. All I want is punch cards. Like, that's all I care about. And I want the rings from the dungeon. I can't wait to see when that comes out, the rings. And then the other big thing that happened in World of Warcraft and that I've been noticing is the Heart of Azeroth essences, the new essence system that you can go to the forge of the Heartforge, whatever it is, for Azeroth, and add these new powers to your bar. So you get a new ability. So the 2 I have unlocked right now, the one is the first one you get, and it sends out a bolt of damage, or you can heal a target. every 30 seconds, and every time you cast it increases its damage by 100%, and then on the third cast it resets the buff to 0, so you have to cast it again. But then it also has a minor power of that every time you use your spells or damage an enemy, you have a chance to damage them over time. And it's a chance to add a dot to them that you don't control. So it just passively increases your damage. At first this annoyed me because now I have a new global cooldown. I have a new thing to add to my rotation that I have to pay attention to. Now, if I was on a very complicated class, like not Elemental Shaman, it would be messed up. It would suck. But I'm on an Elemental Shaman, and my class is not that complicated. I mean, it's a complicated enough rotation. Definitely more complicated than any vanilla rotation. But it's not super complex. And so adding this to my rotation is not too bad. It's been okay. But it's every 30 seconds. Today I switched over to the one that increases my Maelstrom generation rate. And this just blew my mind watching this, right? Like, I thought they were going to be all very vanilla, and I say vanilla as if it's a bad thing, very generic bonuses, like do increased haste, like a new trinket proc that works with everybody. But this one actually is focused on Maelstrom. Like, it's a class-specific bonus for my Heart of Azeroth. And now I want to know what happens if I switch to Restoration, or if I switch to Enhancement. Does my Maelstrom generation change in Enhancement when I pop this? It's also on the global cooldown, though. It increases my Maelstrom generation by 100%. And the minor power is I have a chance to get refunded my spells. I've actually now noticed, because I have already the chance when I Earthshock, to get my whole Earthshock refunded for 100% of the Maelstrom that it cost. I've gone up in Maelstrom after casting Earthshock, because this new Maelstrom thing increases my Maelstrom generation rate. So when I get Maelstrom, I also get... So it refreshes my Maelstrom, what I spent on the spell for Earthshock. It gives me a little bit more because of this passive I now have. So it's kind of like blowing my mind. I'm trying to figure out exactly like which one's the best. And obviously there's going to be someone who simulates this. I hope it's Binkenstein, because he's been around forever and he's amazing. The Elemental Shaman, like God, honestly. I can't believe he's still doing it. But there's so many essences and things to look at and check, and really it's insane how much there is in this patch. It blows my mind that Blizzard does this, and they must have so many people working on it. I have the new follower, the little dude that tanks for you. He's a little tanky fish guy, the deep sea goblins. I don't even know his name. I think I have him rank 3 now. Now he has an AoE stun. He started off with just a taunt. He seems to die really easily. I hope he gets a little bit of a buff so he doesn't die as often and he actually tanks something. Because my Earth Elemental is still a god. I love my Earth Elemental. Thank you for that, Blizzard. It's been good. It's been interesting. I'm liking it. A couple little bugs the first day. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's the first patch day. You know, Blizzard's good about fixing that stuff. So I've been having fun with that. I haven't jumped on Raoden at all because I feel like I need to jump on Jamin. I need to experience the new content. I can't wait for the new dungeon. I want to try it. And then also I want to try the raid out. And this time I want to see maybe if I get a guild. Maybe I'll get a guild. I'm thinking about it. It's just I don't have time, right? I'm constantly trying to stream, constantly trying to do my real life, constantly trying to do podcast. And sometimes raiding is just not one of those things I can get in. So I really want to try, maybe see if I can find someone that'll let me jump in their group with them and start this new whole thing. It'll be great. I'm excited. But more importantly, for you guys, is the interview I have this week with Mr. Milledtime. He's another Twitch streamer. I'm very, very excited to bring you this interview. It's my longest one yet. We really just went on and on. I got lost and caught up in this. And it's a beautiful interview. Really nice guy. If you haven't followed him on Twitch, please go to twitch.tv/Milledtime. Follow this man. He plays a lot of Dead by Daylight. He's been streaming, and he's a really nice guy, really fun to watch, and he really knows what he's talking about, especially with Dead by Daylight. I have no idea what he's doing. There's all these little things going on, and if you like Dead by Daylight, check him out. If not, check him out anyway, because he's a good guy. So here it is, guys. My interview with Mr. Milledtime. Jammin', oh, jammin', 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 jammin'. You're listening to Jamincast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamincast. I'm here. This is the meat of the podcast. This is the beautiful section. This is where I'm joined by a very generous man. He's come to be on, and he's a fellow Twitch streamer, and he's one of the people that I love to host him. I love talking to him, love seeing him play. Milledtime. We gotta make sure we put the D in there, right? What is this?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man? What's going on?
Excellent. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to have you. This podcast has been really fun to make, and I'm excited to continue making it, obviously, but every time I have a new person on, I get to talk about video games, and it brings me a little bit of joy, a little bit of glee to have someone who's excited to talk about video games and discuss exactly how it fits into their life, because honestly, everyone seems to have their own way. I mean, it's just everyone's a different person, and it's exciting to have you. So thank you for coming.
You're quite welcome.
My first question for you is, what was the first game that you ever played that left an impression on you?
Honestly, I played games before this, but the first game that left an impression, for some reason, that keeps popping up in my mind is Frogger.
Frogger?
On NES.
Oh, on the NES. Okay, not on a cabinet. I was going to say you're playing it like a Seinfeld Frogger. I was expecting you to tell me you were playing an arcade machine with putting quarters in, but it was actually on the NES.
It was on the NES, and it was the first game. It's actually the only game ever that my mom has played and likes too. And I just remember at like 6 years old, as a family, us all in the living room playing.
Would you guys pass the? Was it a one-player game? Was there it was a single player, right? So you just pass it around whenever you lost, or?
I honestly can't remember if it was one or two player, but yeah, we would pass it around either way, because my mom played, me and my brother were playing too, so we definitely had to share. And like I said, I played other games before that. I talked about this with you a little bit. I played the original, but an Atari, and I played PC games before that actually.
Oh, really? You guys had a PC that early?
Yeah, Tandy 1000 HX. And
you know the name of it and everything. Wow.
Yeah. There was that actually does have a strong impression on me too.
Was that before? Was that floppy drives, the giant floppy disks? Is that what you were using, or was it? What was? How did you load a game up on that computer?
We definitely had some floppy disks, but most of the games that I remember were the 3.5-inch discs.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I remember going into to elementary school, and like we had to play the Kermit. I think it was Muppets at a circus something, and you had a giant floppy disk that you had to put in, or Oregon Trail, you had to put in the giant floppy disk.
That's a 5.25-inch, I think, disc. Yeah, the thin ones.
Yeah, the ones that were actually floppy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Frogger,
so
then.
Did you play as Kermit? Kermit the Frog.
That's pretty good. No, I don't know if you did. I think you might have. It was some kind of weird like adventure game. I think I can't really remember what the purpose of the Kermit game or the Muppet game was, but it was some kind of weird carnival thing, and I'm sure I could look it up later. But yeah, it was. There
was some kids games that my mom like wanted to get that were kind of educational too that I don't really remember.
Oh, we totally had those. I had Math Blaster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, I think I had Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, which is...
yeah, I had something like that too, some typing game, yeah.
Yeah, and then they had a typing class in high school, and I was like, yeah, I don't need this. I don't need the typing class.
Exactly, I was like that, dude. I was so above all that, dude.
Yeah, I know computers, okay? I've done Mavis Beacon here, team. So after Frogger, you're playing NES, what was your next step in gaming? Like what was the thing that you did? So obviously Frogger inspires you. Did you have another game that you moved on to later on in life, and is it like high school?
Yeah, so I was listening to some of the other podcasts. I know that Final Fantasy meant a lot for you.
Yeah.
And for me, the Final Fantasy equivalent would be Phantasy Star 2 on the Sega Genesis.
On Sega Genesis, Phantasy Star. I've heard the name. I have no idea what happens in that game.
It's an RPG. It's a lot of fun, and I just have memories of hours and hours of me and my best friend in junior high or elementary school, and my brother playing that, and other Genesis games too, but that one in particular was our favorite.
So you guys were actually the cool kids because you had a Genesis.
Yeah, dude, we actually got a Genesis right when it came out, and then like we were all hyped about the Sega Saturn, And then I think my mom was a single mom. She divorced my dad, so she didn't have a lot of money. I think we couldn't get it. And then it bombed, and we were like, oh, good thing we didn't get it. And we actually were really contemplating, my brother really wanted a fucking Neo Geo system.
The Neo Geo. I remember the name. I'm trying to remember what it looked like. Was it the handheld Genesis?
No, it was its own console. It was super expensive, and they only had a handful of games. And I honestly don't remember. I gotta look up what the game was. There was a fighting game that was on arcade that they were famous for, and my brother was all into it. And
he's gonna go pro.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a sports league for that game. Now there's got to be like maybe a club or something somewhere down the line, but I doubt that it's got a big enough. Maybe it does. We should look it up, see if you can get him signed up, and he'll go dominate that league. To really
absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was always really good at and really loved fighting games, and him and his friends played fighting games till the cows came home. I was never big on fighting.
What was your I mean, I remember playing Mortal Kombat, and all I would do is play Liu Kang and do the bicycle kick, because that was the only thing I knew how to. I could put in the input as fast as possible, and that was about all I could do. No combos, no nothing, just specials. Definitely,
yeah. And, I was definitely more RPG and strategy and stuff like that, and some shooters. But the shooters weren't really big yet at that point. There wasn't any good ones anyway, really, that not until like Xbox days.
Yeah. I remember, I think my first shooter that it really struck and held me was Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
Medal of Honor series was amazing. And then Call of Duty came around and you were like, well, it's not. I remember Call of Duty 1 coming out and being like, well, Medal of Honor is better. So I'm not going to play this weird Call of Duty game. And then Call of Duty just kept going and Medal of Honor didn't.
I think Fists of Fury might have been the game on Neo Geo. I honestly, I'm looking up Neo Geo games, and that's on the. I don't know if that's the one or not.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I have a varied video game past. There's a portion of my life when I wasn't playing games at all.
Yeah.
And then so there's kind of a gap, and then it picks back up with WoW really about 10 years ago. So I played through my childhood, and then so it was Sega Genesis and then Sega CD, and actually another game that kind of was right up there with Final Fantasy, or no. Actually, I ended up playing and loving the Final Fantasy games too a little later. But was Lunar the Silver Star? I don't know if you ever heard of that. Loved the shit out of that.
Lunar the Silver Star?
Yeah.
No.
It was on Sega CD, and then they re-released it on the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
So I went from Sega Genesis, Sega CD to PlayStation 1, and then PS2, but I wasn't real big on games at the time. So then, like from there, it goes to WoW pretty much.
Okay, and so when did you start playing WoW? Is it during Vanilla? Did you play in Vanilla?
I played right around the launch of BC, which is similar to you.
Yeah.
And I remember just hearing a lot about it, and I had got a computer from Best Buy on a Black Friday deal that could play it, and I was like, all right, it's free trial, might as well try it out, right?
Yeah.
And I did, and it was fun. So then I subscribed, and I ended up putting I put a big portion of the reason that my marriage failed on World of Warcraft.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think my college days, and my friends can attest to this, World of Warcraft really left a scar on my college tuition and stuff.
I've always attributed it to a big portion of the loss of my marriage, but I've never attributed it to, and it probably was a big portion of the reason of the fail of my business as well.
Wow.
I had a retail store for 8 years, and I went to business school, and then I graduated, and then me and my mom together started a business, and part of it was that we closed in 2008 when the economy took a huge dive, and I was selling really high-end products that people weren't buying anymore in 2008. But I think also if I had used some of the time I had spent on WoW on focused on the business a little more, it might have done better.
Gotcha. Yeah. WoW. It's balancing things and figuring life out is really interesting. WoW is one of those things that it's so rewarding to play that you do get lost in it. It's really easy to get lost in it.
Yeah, well, and because I own my own business and I was able to make my own schedule, I average it out to 12 hours a day, 6 days.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I
was bad.
was listening to a podcast talking about Rob Pardo, the guy who designed WoW, and he said during StarCraft, when they were making StarCraft, he was playing. It was like his second. He was running the top guild in the world on not was it ESO or what was their game they all played? EverQuest. He was one of the top guild leaders on EverQuest. And I was just thinking in my head, like, oh my God, you like led design on StarCraft, and then you also did an EverQuest, the top guild in the world. Like, how do you even balance your life around that? How do you?
You can't.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's just crazy. Yeah, I know my big story that I love to tell, and this is the first time I tell it on the podcast. So I've told it on the stream a couple times. Is that I remember sitting down playing World of Warcraft in my dorm room in college, and a woman coming in, gorgeous girl, and I was I completely didn't know how to deal with women at all, and now I'm perfect, so obviously it's fine. But
Right.
she comes in and she says, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, playing World of Warcraft," and she's like, "Oh, why?" And she started asking me a couple questions, and I was annoyed that she was bothering me in my world. I was like, I'm trying to farm. I was trying to farm my Spellfire set or whatever it was. I don't remember what I was doing. I was doing something stupid and mundane, and then she, eventually just kind of wandered away. Like,
Right.
okay, guess he's not interested.
She was taking an interest in you, and you're like, come on, bitch, I'm trying to farm this shit here.
Yeah, I'm farming here. Okay, I don't have time for you. And then it wasn't until later that I was like, what did I just do? My priorities are completely out of whack. And it was good. So that was it. Do you have a favorite game of all time like that so we talked about Frogger being the first impression game, but is there a game, and I think you said one of these RPGs you were mentioning, and I already forgot the name of it.
A Fantasy Star 2 and Lunar, the Silver Star. Well, honestly, Lunar the Silver Star is the only game that I've also replayed through recently on a ROM or an emulator.
Okay. Yeah,
and still really enjoy it and love that. It's got a special place in my heart. There's tons of strategy games that I've absolutely loved, though. Shining Force, Master of Monsters, Warsong. I don't know if you ever heard of any of these. And then, of course, like Final Fantasy Tactics. That's one of the,
I haven't heard of like any of these games that I'm listening to, but I thought I knew these games. I thought I knew games, but yeah, it's really interesting to see how many games there really are out there.
What a difference! What was it?
7 years, you said.
Makes. Yeah.
And then back to WoW. What? So you got the trial.
I remember the first character I tried out was a dwarf.
A dwarf, okay.
I think it was a hunter.
Yeah, because he was in the video, so you have to play the dwarf hunter. He's the first character you see in the trailer.
Oh, was it? Maybe that's what it was. That could have been.
I was just spitballing. I wasn't. Yeah.
It very well could have been. It was just the one I tried out. It's not the one I stuck with. So I really, really loved the grinding. I played PvP and I was okay, and I had a twink, but it wasn't my main focus. My main focus was raiding and grinding and leveling, and to the point where I had, I think I had 9 at one point max level characters.
9 max level characters, but this is the Burning Crusade, right? Or is this in Wrath?
I think I probably didn't have 9 until Wrath. I think I probably had like 5 or 6 in BC, maybe even 4 in BC.
So you just like leveling. The leveling experience itself was the best part of the game for you.
Which is so ridiculous. I know so many people that hate the grind and just want to get to the end, but me, I love the leveling. I love the leveling.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now on my new shaman I made is Raid, and I'm just leveling, and I'm like, I took all my heirlooms off, and I took all my, like, anything that gives me a bonus XP or anything, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to grind this out. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to see these quests and just see what happens, and it's just this, like, kind of monotonous thing that you do, and it's fun to just kind of get lost in it, and each moment perfecting your rotation a little bit, or, like, deciding, oh, can I pull an extra mob? Can I pull this, that? And that's interesting.
Yeah, that sense of achievement of every little quest you finish, you're making progress towards something. You're getting something done. I don't know, something about it.
Yeah, and maximizing it. So you can, at any point, you can switch on and be like, I'm going to kill every mob on the way to the next quest area. Or you can be like, I'm just going to ride on my mountain. I don't have to make this like a special thing. Like, I'm just going to move on. And like, but at some points you can, kind of maximize your gains, or you can just be totally casual, and it's all up to you because you're playing alone. No one's beholden to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about or get to at some point is what a change Discord has been in gaming, in my opinion.
Discord, yeah.
It changed gaming from a antisocial thing to a social thing, in my opinion, for me anyways. When you get in a game and you're playing by yourself, and hopefully you run into some people that maybe you'll get into a team speak with, whereas now you're with people talking to them in Discord, whether you're playing a game or not, and then you play together. And it's just, I think Discord, and I know Discord has its issues with server quality, voice quality, and stuff like that, but I think it's massive what it has done for the gaming community.
Yeah, I actually have never thought about that. The fact that how much Discord has changed, the fact that everything's a community now. Like, not only Twitch streamers have their own Discords, but games have their own Discords. I mean, classes in World of Warcraft have their own Discords. People discussing this class outside the game, they're just chatting about it. And it's more so than forums ever were, because you don't have to. It's constantly going. It's a live thing. It's happening. While like old forums, you have to go onto the website and go log in and stuff. With the Discord, there's a bunch of different channels right next to you, and you can hook up with anyone there and just join into a game and run in with them. Wow, it is actually pretty impressive. I never thought about that. Discord's really changed quite a lot, especially thinking back to like Ventrilo days and TeamSpeak.
Exactly, you had to organize all this and set it all up, it's like I almost like, what did I do back then?
Yeah. And you had to hope someone had a server that they were paying for that they forgot about that was.
Or you'd have to go in somebody else's server that you knew about and go to a channel and then hope some people didn't come in and troll.
Yeah, and then the trolling. Isn't there there's a whole Ventrilo pranks video that's like really famous. It's like a meme now, right? Isn't there a whole there's YouTube videos of people going into Discord or Ventrilos and just trolling people and
those were the days. No,
those are the days. Yeah. Wow.
But and then I don't know how. I'll let you run it.
Go ahead. Absolutely, do. I would love it. Just.
I'd say the two biggest games that have impacted me modern day is WoW and Ark. And Ark really, today. Wow. Ark today is not a great game.
Okay.
Ark, for a period of time, is the greatest game I have ever played, and I don't know how much of that is because of the people. I think a big portion of it is because of the people I was playing with.
Gotcha. Were you are we talking a release Ark, or are we? And I don't even know if Ark released. Was it
pre-release?
Was it a pre-release?
It did release. Yeah. It did. Yeah. When it jumped up to $50 or $60, that's when they actually released it. But yeah, this was all pre-release, and I had a close group of friends that we would all play together. We would grind the shit out of it. We would dominate servers. Sometimes there'd be alpha tribes that would beat us, but a lot of times we would hop into a server, build ourselves up, and destroy the alpha tribe when they would try and fuck with us. And it was a lot of fun, man. It was so much fun.
Wow. Yeah, that's Ark is one of those games that I was just playing The Forest yesterday, so I can't really talk too much.
Another game I love.
In these games that it takes, I don't know, in Ark at least each server could change it, I'm sure, but like the idea that it took like 4 hours to build something, but then it took 8 hours to build a bomb that could kill it in 30 seconds. It was just really this like weird balance in that, yes, the guy could destroy everything I own in 30 seconds, but it took him 48 hours to build everything that he needed in order to destroy my fort.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. There was definitely some imbalance there. And on the official servers, it was much worse than on some of the unofficial servers. The official servers, especially because the amount of time you would sink into training one dinosaur or taming one dinosaur was massive. And it was better on the private servers, but still, it was a huge time sink. I mean, I've got 4,000 hours in Ark.
Wow.
And, yeah, so much of it was spent taming and breeding animals, and then the worst thing was after you breed these animals, you had to imprint on them every I think it was like 45 minutes when you had a Quetzal. So they took like a full day to mature. So we stayed up like through the entire night to continue to imprint on these dinosaurs. Because if you imprint on them, they get better buffs when you ride them, and they're stronger than normal ones.
Oh, and so you had to do it every like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a hell of a time investment. That game, yeah.
It really is.
Have you ever heard of a game called The Stomping Lands? I feel like I can't.
I haven't.
I feel like I can't mention Ark without mentioning The Stomping Lands. So, The Stomping Lands came out. It was a pre-release game. It came out like a couple months before Ark did on pre-release, and the developer made like 3 dinosaurs. It was literally the same game as Ark. It was very, very similar, at least. And me and my friend played it, and you could literally like make a campfire and like punch trees, and like that was about all you could do. There was like a couple dinosaurs, you couldn't tame them, couldn't do anything, but the guy promised so much, and he made so much money on it, and then he just never updated the game again ever. And he got kicked off Steam and stuff, but we lost our money. But we played that game for like, so that game gave me like PTSD playing Ark, because I was like, no, not another. I can't do another Stomping Lands. I can't do another Stomping Lands.
Sure.
That's yeah. I anytime anyone mentions Ark, I have these flashbacks to Stomping Lands where like there's a T-Rex, and then that's it. That's all they had. They had like a T-Rex and like maybe like one herbivore somewhere, and you couldn't tame them, couldn't do anything, couldn't even interact with them. I don't even know if they attacked you if you got near them. I just remember the game being so incomplete, but being like, wow, this is going to be really cool when he finishes it, and then it never went anywhere.
The 2 things that killed it for me was when they released the tech things, which is tech buildings and tech weapons and tech armor and all this high-tech stuff.
It removed the whole idea that you're a primitive tribe and you're barely like getting into the Stone Age kind of stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, there was a lot of lore around you being on a spaceship, and this is
oh right, that's right.
Yeah. So, on that hand, okay, it makes sense with that. It really is in the future, but it's supposed to be primitive. I just felt like, and a lot of people at the time felt like all the tech stuff was too OP. It was way out of balance, and only the biggest tribes could do the things to complete the tech, to get the best tech stuff.
Yeah.
And it would have increased the imbalance. And then they made flyers all 1 speed. You couldn't increase the speed on the flyers, which on one hand actually helped to balance it because flyers were OP as hell. But it took some of the fun out of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just thinking all the game design decisions, how you decide to do that, and like, obviously why make a different flyer if they're all going to be exactly the same? Could you have multiple people ride one or anything? And
they were different in that like the Quetzal was still could take a lot more weight, and like you could like people would build. I don't know how familiar you are with it.
Yeah, there's fortresses you can on bases.
Top of Quetzals. You have a flying base.
I didn't know you could fly with the bases.
Yeah, you could have turrets built up all over the Quetzals as well, and all this shit. Yeah. That's the other thing too, is a lot of the unofficial servers didn't allow turrets on Quetzals because it's OP, and it really, really fucking was.
Wow. How long could they fly for? Could they just fly forever with a thing on them?
If you put enough stamina on them, yeah, they could fly forever. But usually you wanted to increase their health and some of their other stuff as well, and speed.
Their carrying capacity or whatever, so that
they're
they can actually carry the base.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. Their weight capacity, their health, so that they can take some of the bullets being shot at them when you're gunning them down with your turrets.
I stopped playing that game after they released the bases for the long neck guys, and that was like really early. I remember them releasing it and just thinking in my head like, holy shit. And because we were playing on official servers, I didn't know there was a whole thing of private servers that you could change things. And on the official servers,
mods made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
If there wasn't mods and it wasn't unofficial servers, Ark wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, wow, you want me to build a base, and it's going to take me 14 hours or whatever it would take to build this after I tame the dinosaur.
And then the dinosaur dies and something, and then all the work.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, I can't afford to put all this time into it.
Absolutely, yeah, I get that. But I did.
Yeah, no, but you got a private server too, so it wasn't, and you had a group of people.
Yeah, it wasn't just that. It was
Yeah.
definitely, you know,
I know.
I think 5 times was a good rate to go.
Yeah, I
Five times the speed of, you know, taming and
I had a group of friends that had a server, or at least the people I knew that had a server. So I remember jumping on their server, and they had all the best dinosaurs and all the best stuff. And as soon as I did that, I realized I didn't care anymore because I had seen everything. I was like, "Oh, cool! I saw everything. You guys have everything."
not only that, but it's when it's already there. Like I've jumped into with other people who wanted me to join them because they knew I was good at the game and stuff, and it is absolutely not the same when you come in already fully equipped with everything. They already have everything.
They're like, "Here, open this chest. It's got all the best armor in it." And you're like, "Okay, I got it on." And they're like, "Oh, no, here, this chest has all the best weapons." Okay, thank you. And then you can ride this dinosaur. And you're like, "Oh, I'm riding the dinosaur." And they're like, "Do you want to go collect some minerals?" I'm like,
Why?
I'm like, no, I got all the best weapons and the best armor. Why am
absolutely.
Well, we need to collect minerals so that we can continue what we've done. And I'm like, eh.
Right. So that's part of what I liked about the game was the grind. Wow, I liked the grind about it, and I liked farming all the resources and building up this massive base that we then had to defend from people, and it was all this build up to what might happen, and then the times it did happen were epic.
Yeah, it was a big investment for a thing you didn't know if it was going to work out or not, and then you got to find out and start all over afterwards again to
absolutely.
So back to WoW, because I could talk about WoW forever.
Absolutely.
What was so you had a bunch of classes, but what did you have one that you like particularly liked or enjoyed that you would level up first, or?
Yeah, I keep coming back to my hunter. Not that hunter, not the dwarf hunter. I was always
Horde.
Horde, yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
I thought I was gonna have to end an interview.
Yeah. I had one alliance character. I think it was a Worgen. I think when they came out with Worgen, I was finally like, all right, you know what? They're pretty cool. I'll try out alliance. And I leveled up Worgen. That's the only alliance character I ever leveled up to.
Gotcha.
A decent level.
He's close enough to Horde. They're monsters. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be forgiven a little bit.
But yeah, it was actually a Blood Elf hunter. Was my first main character.
Gotcha. Blood Elf hunter's good, and they had mana back then too, so their arcane torrent actually did something.
Yes, they did absolutely. Yeah, that was part of why I chose the Blood Elf hunter as the main, and then they gave him focus, and it's like, wow, thanks, Dix.
So they actually talked about that in the other podcast. It's Designer Notes, it's called, and Rob Pardo was the first guy he interviews.
I was listening to some of that too, and what you were talking about with the warrior stances, and I had a warrior that was, I had a few characters, like out of the 9, there was some that I didn't play very much, but warrior was one of the other ones that I did play a lot, and I mean, that's just one of the many things that they did to make the game kind of more friendly and easier for some people. That fucking completely ruined it, man.
Yeah, it just took out the flavor of a warrior. Like, how do you feel when now you can just hit any button at all? When, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing to play. Like you play it, you don't know what you're missing when you play it. If you've never played with stances, and you wouldn't want stances if someone told you about them. Like, hey, we're going to limit your ability to do anything. But playing with them before, it was something like, hey, I feel like a person that has like trained in combat. Like I've trained like, you could have a monk or something and they would be tiger stance or something. And they only are able to strike you with like their fists. Or I don't even know. Like, but the idea that you were trained in a sword and shield, so you need to switch into your sword and shield mode to be able to pull off the abilities that you need to, or the strikes that you need to, was a mechanical good thing.
Yeah. One of them, I don't know. So I stopped playing. The last expansion I played was Mists of Pandaria, and I played some of the end game of that. I didn't go real deep into it, but when they changed the talent trees, that hurt me a lot. That's
probably right. Did it go through Wrath? Did talent trees last through Wrath? I'm trying to remember. I think they did.
I think they did. They changed them still. I think they changed them before that, but they didn't completely screw them like they did. Like
when they were like, hey, we're going up 10 more levels and we have to give you 10 more talent points or whatever, and they were like, it's too many talent points and we need to figure out how to fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for vanilla. Are you gonna play?
Fuck yes.
Yeah, are you gonna play a hunter?
Actually, I'm thinking shaman or druid.
Oh. Shaman? What? Did you say shaman?
I did.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I was playing on a private bottom server, and I started a shaman on that server as well. And then I started leveling, and then it seems silly to level this up right now when I'm just gonna be redoing all this when
a couple
class
months.
comes
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
I thought the same. If I got a beta access, I would play it right now. Like, I don't think I could stop myself.
Right.
But I'm also like, I don't want to. If as soon as the actual game came out, I would be so disheartened. I'd be like, oh god,
I just did all this.
I just did this 2 months ago, and now I have to do it all over again. Yeah, it's. I think my favorite thing about the stress test that just happened was the fact that if I got into a group with another shaman, I had we'd have to do our little totem talk. We're like, okay, I'm gonna use Strength of Earth totem. You're gonna use Stone Skin totem, and therefore we'll cover all our buffs, and therefore we'll be good. And this whole idea that you could, you had to talk and communicate that we're gonna switch these. Same thing with paladins. They would do that. I'm give you Blessing of Wisdom, and you give me Blessing of Might. Oh, that guy's our Blessing of King guy. He talented into King, so we're gonna give him. And then, or the priest, that guy has improved fortitude, so make sure that the improved fortitude guy is doing it. If you have two priests in your group, it's just really, I don't know why that part of the game was so interesting to me. That the buff management and maximizing your group with the buffs that you have, it's just really wholesome to talk to other shamans and be like, okay,
Absolutely.
buddy, here we are together, me and you, shaman brothers.
Coordinate it all.
Let's get it. Let's figure out these totems.
So in BC, I did some Sunwell progression, but I didn't finish Sunwell. I didn't didn't do everything. But Karazhan to this day is still probably my favorite raid. That was so
I love Karazhan.
fun.
Yeah, Karazhan was probably the raid I did the most of any. Well, I don't know about that actually. Naxxramas and Ulduar and Icecrown Citadel in Wrath is the places I actually raided. Like in Wrath of the Lich King is when I raided hardcore.
Me too. Same with me. That's when I actually I killed the Lich King on 25-man heroic as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't server first like you, but.
Yeah, but okay, you probably killed him before me. Still, I hope you know that because we didn't kill him, and this is a spoiler for anyone who's looking at my achievement date. It's actually after the pre-patch for the next expansion.
Wait.
No one on my server killed Lich King 25-man heroic until the Cataclysm pre-patch.
Dude, you know what's the funniest thing about that?
What?
We did it the instant that patch, the previous patch shut down. As we killed the Lich King, the server shut down for the update.
For the Cataclysm update?
Yes.
Okay, then
For the pre-patch. When they nerfed him.
Yeah.
You know when he got easier because of the pre-patch, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone got stronger.
Right. We killed him the instant that the previous.
Right before he shut down, yeah.
So we killed him when it was harder. But it didn't count. It didn't fucking count.
Oh, no.
Literally the second we killed him, the server shut down.
Oh, no.
And then we didn't, so then we came back afterward and killed him and it was all right, but it wasn't the same because we actually did it before then.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same as us. We when we got Realm first, our whole guild was like, wait, what? Like, no one on our server has killed 25 heroic Lich King yet? we were like, oh shit! Like, this is kind of bullshit. But sure. And we got a bunch of people whispering us, congrats! Holy shit, our server sucks. It was pretty great. But I still am really happy with that because I'm like, wow, it was fine. We did it. We did 25. Heroic Lich King realm first.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and unless someone actually looks into the date on my achievement and sees that it's after, it literally probably was the day after the patch because there was a reset or whatever. And it was hilarious. But yeah, Ulduar was probably when I think Ulduar, maybe Icecrown. I can't remember how between Ulduar and Icecrown how heavy core or hardcore I rated.
Yeah.
Oh, then there was I'm completely forgetting the Argent Tournament. The Argent Tournament was a thing for a while.
Oh wow, yeah, I forgot about that. Wow.
But Ulduar was amazing.
A raid, huh? That was a raid.
That was a raid. That was a full raid. but you didn't move. The bosses came to you because they didn't have time to build a raid. So they had to, like, Ice Crown Citadel was coming, and they were like, Argent Tournament, here you go, take this. And then they had a dungeon in the exact same place for the Argent. The 5-man dungeon was in the exact same location, so they could reuse the assets.
Right. Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah, I remember that being hard at first, and then we just farmed it. I think it got pretty easy.
Yeah.
The Argent Tournament.
Yeah. Tyrion faltering. All right, heroes. And that was great. And then he died in Legion, like right ahead at top of Legion. He just took a bubble bath in the acid with, and I was just like, that's the guy.
Yep.
That's the guy from the Argent Tournament. You're just gonna kill him, and he helped us with the Ice Crown Citadel, and you're just gonna kill him like that? Like, I was like, is there any lead up? There was literally no foreshadowing that he would die. It was just like, oh yeah, now he's dead, and you're like, oh, that sucks. Like that's
anticlimactic.
Yeah, like that guy was awesome. Like he's dead. Yeah, okay. I guess the same thing happened with Vol'jin, but they decided to bring him back as a spirit. And
yeah, that reminds me of Zul. Which Zul?
The Prophet Zul?
No, I mean the raid.
Zuldazar? The Darazalor?
Yeah, that's probably the one. Yeah. Wait. Yeah,
what are we talking about? Zul'Farrak? ZG?
Zul'Farrak, yeah.
ZG? The
Zul'Gura. Was it Zul'Gura? It might have been ZG.
Farrak is the one in Tenaris. It's the sand people, and ZG is the one in the Valley Stranglethorn Vale.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking. The one
with Hakar.
Yeah.
That one was probably one of my favorite raids from
it was pretty
Vanilla.
Fun. Yeah.
And then I think Zulaman was my favorite Burning Crusade raid. Karazhan takes that, but Zulaman is probably second favorite. Zulaman was amazing. The one where you get to get bear runs.
Yes.
The Amani bear.
That one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, when it came out, it was like, holy shit, you can do a lot of crazy stuff with this raid stuff. Like, there's like timing and figuring out how to get to the end to get the bear. I was in a guild that was getting bears, but I never was allowed to get one. There was other people that were in front of me before, so I never got my Amani bear.
I don't think I got one either.
Especially because I was just a totem stick. That's all it was at that time.
I remember. I heard you talking about that too. Like you had another character that mage that had better gear and everything, and they were like, eh.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
He was barely geared. Yeah, I mean, he had a couple epics. So that was it. I was like, I'd been in Karazhan. I'd cleared Karazhan on my mage, so I had whatever epics I got from that. And then my shaman was literally like a fresh level 70, and they were like, oh yeah, bring the shaman. I was like, oh, okay. And then it just was awesome. It was great.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude. I love Karazhan.
Yeah.
Still do. I wish they bring that. Actually, I almost kind of wish or hope that they take Classic into BC as well.
I think if Classic does well enough, they will. My only question is if they're going to split the servers and have a vanilla only server, a Burning Crusade server, and then eventually maybe a Wrath King server.
Yeah.
But then
I think could be a good idea to a certain extent. But then where do they stop? Because a lot of their expansions, I don't think people would give a shit.
Hey guys, we're gonna have a Warlords of Draenor server.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Did you guys want to play garrisons again? Oh, it's gonna be great. I actually hate the garrison mechanic. This is my least favorite mechanic, and I hate that it's still in the game in Battle for Azeroth. That there's a mission table to go onto every day, and you have to click on, and it's awful.
No doubt.
So when did you start streaming then? So you're streaming on Twitch. When did you start streaming?
I started streaming 10 months ago. I became affiliate. So probably actually just 11 months ago.
11 months. So about a year ago. Okay.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Why stream? Like why you just meeting people? Just fun, casual? What's the reason?
So yeah, I had made several friends that were streaming. Honestly, I didn't watch Twitch at all previous to that. I think my first subscription was to Gilderic. And a couple weeks ago, I hit my 12-month subscriber with him. And he was, for the first month or so, he was like the only person I watched. I knew about it, I just didn't really care. I didn't get it. I had always thought, why the fuck do I want to watch somebody else play a game?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just play the game myself.
Yeah. A lot of games, especially like, I mean, if you're playing, why Yeah, for sure.
I didn't get it. And then I started hanging out with some friends that were streaming and playing games with them while they were streaming. And they kind of were telling me that I should start, and I was like, And then finally I did, and I think I started actually mainly playing Heroes of the Storm.
Oh wow.
With some DBD, but and we can get into Heroes of the Storm, but it's the only MOBA that I like. Now I'll play League with friends, but I don't enjoy it.
Right. I'm kind of similar. I'm okay with League. Like I don't dislike it, it's not like I'm not enjoying myself. I just I don't want to keep up with the tier list of items and tier list of characters and all this new stuff. Well, I can do that with Heroes just because I've been playing it constantly, and it's hard to have both in my mind. Because I did that with League.
I felt with Heroes, one, the community was not as toxic, partly because the way they set it up, you couldn't no cross team chat. I think that helped. And it was there were less OP characters. There wasn't one character that would get overpowered during a game and completely destroy everybody.
Like a Tryndamere or a Master Yi that just destroyed newbies that didn't have any
Darius, dunking on everybody. Yeah, absolutely. All of that, man. That I just felt like whenever I played League and this one person would just come in, you could 5-man on him and he'd just kill everybody.
Yeah. You could get tanky enough that you could totally just eat everyone alive and then also do enough damage to kill them all. Because you got so far ahead in items and gold.
Right. I didn't like that. I don't like that about League. And then, so there's that. And then there's the community. It's just so toxic. And it's like, and it happens so quick. And it's tilting and it's frustrating. And then when you've got friends that are better than you, that are like, you feel like you're dragging them down too, It's just it's not enjoyable in that sense. And then not play with people, and then that's not fun.
Yeah, I do remember getting yelled at by people on my own team, like I can't believe you flashed there. I remember him telling me, and it was a good lesson. Like he was right. Like at some point there was like a flash where I flashed away from the enemy because I was like, if I stay here, I will die. But by flashing away, I left him alone, and it gave them the opportunity to understand that we were vulnerable because me flashing.
Because your flash was there.
Me flashing told them, like, we're getting out. Like we don't want to be here anymore. I flashed away, and it was just like not even over a wall or anything. I just flashed as far away from them as possible. And I remember him yelling at me, telling me like, why would you flash there? That gave them everything they needed to know to kill me. Because if you had stayed and just kind of like protected me a little bit and just used your body and got in the way just a little bit, I would have lived. And then they wouldn't have got the kill or whatever it was. And I just remember him screaming at me.
Do that and then save your flash until you actually need,
right.
Yeah.
But it was like little thing. I was scared and I flashed. That was all it was. I wasn't thinking like strategically because I was really new. And then I remember being berated by people on Dota because I remember playing Dota on Warcraft 3 and just people like screaming at me like curse words about how shitty I am at this game. And I was like, holy shit, I don't want to play this. I don't want someone just abusing me constantly. And so going from Dota, I played a game called Sodus. I can't remember exactly why. I can't remember what the acronym stood for. It was a Starcraft 2 mod. It was a Dota clone, but it's called Sodus. And then going from Sodus to League, I used to play on a Ventrilo server with the Soda group. And they were like, League of Legends is the newbie version, the newbie game. It's like you can't carry in League the way you can carry in Sodus or Dota because you can't ever. And that's how they purported it. It's the newbie kind of like baby game. And that came out, and I was like, and we moved over to League, and it was fun. And yes, you could totally carry and stuff, but it definitely wasn't to the same extent that you could in Dota and Sodus. And then Heroes comes along, and it's literally even farther back. So. And I don't think it was a bad thing. I think Heroes is a great game. My issue with it is the way that Blizzard has handled their esports league and their.
Absolutely.
I think they just needed to, first off, either not start the league itself or just give it a week. Give it a week. Excuse me. Give me a year. give it a slow burn down until they say, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is how much we're making.
Give people a chance to prepare for that.
Yeah.
And
maybe it's not good. Maybe it's not. Maybe, and again, I'm thinking of high level. Maybe it's not good for their stock investors if they know that, hey, we're not making money on this, but we're going to continue doing it for a year. And then all the stock people are like, oh, fucking get out. Like, maybe that's maybe that was the play. Maybe that's the reason why, you can't understand these things. And then, but yeah, it's a hell of a game.
Shame. It is. Yeah. And I played it from pretty early on. I didn't play it a lot at first. And then, actually, one of the guys that I played a shitload of Ark with, actually, I met him in Ark, was, I don't know if you know him, Super Boss Guy.
No, I haven't met him.
He was GM for a while, and he played on Heroes of the Dorm.
Oh, wow.
For Texas Tech for a couple of years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so he kind of got me back into that game after we quit playing Ark, and I was playing with him a lot, and a lot of fun. And then when that all went down, I kind of stopped playing it so much, and I've actually been starting to play it again the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's still fun.
I played it like a week or two ago, and it was a blast. It was the best. Like, it was everything I remembered it being. It was really fun. And then I played it a couple days later, and my computer was a little bit laggy. I wasn't getting the frame rates I liked. I'm not sure what was happening exactly. And also, my team was just crying the whole time. Everyone was mad at each other. And all of a sudden, I was like, I'm just gonna go back to World of Warcraft because I don't have time to roll the dice with these games to see if I want to have a good game or not.
For sure. And that actually reminds me of something. WoW is actually the reason. I was gonna say I'm a fairly big hardware nerd, and I'm pretty good at diagnosing and fixing computers as well. But the whole reason that I became that is because of WoW. So I remember I told you I had that Black Friday computer that I bought from Best Buy that could play WoW, and so I tried it out, and while it could play WoW, it played WoW really shitty. And so the first thing I did was I bought my first video card ever, and I'd never built my own computer at this point. So I put in I think it was a GTX 460. I think it was a 460.
Okay.
And man, I was blown away. Holy shit, this is so much better. It's so beautiful. And it was still running currently shitty because I was still on a really shitty like a AMD Phenom processor. And so then I realized and read more and realized that WoW is a hugely CPU intensive game, and while it looks better now, it still isn't running as it's still kind of laggy, low frame rates and shit. And so then I finally decided to build my own computer, and yeah, WoW, it's all WoW that got me into it. And now I can't wait for the Ryzen 3rd gens to come out. I'm stoked about that.
See, I pretend like I know what I'm talking about with computers, but I can replace my RAM, and then I can maybe put a new video card in, and that's about the extent of my knowledge with the game. Like, I had a computer, and I think the power supply died on it, and I honestly couldn't tell you what I'm doing. I was gonna build my own computer, and then I went online.
That happened to me too, actually. And I think replacing my power supply is part of what gave me the confidence to be like, I think I can do more than.
Yeah, it's surprising how much that affected my my game's frame rates and stuff. I didn't realize that the power obviously wasn't good. It's obvious, when you think about it, that it needs a power to be able to work, and if your power supply is not giving that power, it can't work. And so yeah, it was interesting. At buying a new computer, I remember I think it was 2-3 years ago now, going on PC Part Picker and looking at all the parts and finding the full price and getting as low as possible. And then I realized it was $1,500 for me to buy it, all these pieces. And then I was like, oh, here's the exact same computer I'm buying, but pre-built for $1,600. I was like, oh, okay. Boom, give it to me.
Right. What you don't realize is that manufacturer has made a deal with the manufacturer of that motherboard to get the cheapest damn crappiest motherboard they can get.
Oh, maybe.
Each component in there is not going to be the same quality component that you buy yourself. But that isn't to dissuade people.
Is that what's going on in there? I knew that hamster.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that hamster should be running. That's not even a hamster. That's a
gerbil.
You'll
have the exact same components with the same names, but there's different SKUs, and
Okay.
there's a big variance in quality, and they make deals to get cheaper parts from them, and there's got to be a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that hamster was he's not even a hamster.
But a lot of times, like, I mean, it's not so bad with gaming computer manufacturers like iBuyPower, which isn't a great company as far as their quality of work, but their components are decent, and which is more than you can say for companies like Dell or HP. If you look at a motherboard out of those computers and look at the capacitors, look at the heat sinks on them, it's night and day compared to what you would buy for yourself. Even for $75, you can get a way better motherboard.
Yeah, do you know how Dell put themselves out of business or out of a computer? The computer industry with Asus. Did you see this? Did you know about this?
I didn't. I like Asus as a company.
Yeah. So here, this is gonna be great. I don't know the specific. I have to go back. It's quite a while ago, back when there was still commercials on that said, "Dude, you're getting the Dell." Back around that time.
I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dell had this brilliant idea that they didn't have to make their own parts, that they could outsource all their parts. So they would send out for all their parts from wherever it was, these companies, these factories, wherever it was in overseas, and then they would just sell them with the name Dell on them. Well, these factories got wise and they said, why don't we just sell the parts? And so they named themselves Asus, and they just stopped selling to Dell, and they made their own computer company, and they started selling it. And then Dell started taking a nosedive because they lost all of their people, all their suppliers went away because they all became Asus.
Nice, hell yeah, go Asus.
Because literally Dell was like, yeah, we have all these parts coming in, and they were doing nothing. They were just branding them with their name, and then
they were a middleman and taking a cut of
and they got destroyed by it. And I'm sure I said that not exactly right. There's probably a little details I messed up.
Sure.
But it was basically to that extent. That's exactly what happened to Dell, and they were no longer getting a Dell. You're getting an Asus.
Right, which is what I like about a company like Asus. When you buy an Asus computer, they're a manufacturer of the parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're buying it from the people manufacturing it. HP, they don't manufacture their motherboards. They buy them from people. Same thing that Dell did.
Yeah.
And or if they do manufacture anything, it's just not good. But but I know I've bought Asus motherboards that are great motherboards. So if I buy an Asus computer, hopefully it's got some pretty decent parts in there.
Yeah.
Compared to some of those other companies.
And the Alienware, man. I remember all my friends buying Alienware stuff and just telling them like, dude, don't. You're just paying for the name, man. It's not any better. It's just green and glowy. And
I know people that got them, and they're like, oh, but I've got it. It's like, wow, all right, yeah, good for you.
But look at the sharp edges on this laptop. It's so cool.
I got an Alienware. Oh, you got a Dell. No, it's an Alien. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Now
I haven't looked inside of an HP Omen to see what from the spec wise, it looks like they're decent. I don't know if they've changed how they do things with Omen to actually upgrade the components. So just not something I can.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have no idea what that even means. I didn't know HP had a.
Omen is HP's new their gaming brand.
Their new gaming brand. Okay.
I'm surprised you haven't seen them. They sponsor a lot of gaming events. I
probably have seen them. My brain just completely ignores it. Like I don't need a computer, so I don't. When I see an ad for it, I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
For sure. I watch a lot of Linus Tech Tips, and they actually did a pretty cool article. They bought a pre-built computer from HP Omen. They bought one from iBuyPower. They bought one from
CyberPower PC.
So they did CyberPower PC and a couple others too that aren't as well known. And comparison on build quality and component quality, and it was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting article. You might want to.
That's on. What was that on?
Linus Tech Tips.
Linus Tech Tips. All right.
You ever seen Linus Tech Tips videos?
I might have.
YouTube, but they're really big on YouTube.
Gotcha.
I like them a lot. I like Linus.
And then another thing I wanted to ask you about was you have a kid. How is having a kid change your view of video games or just games in general? and streaming as well? Like, how does he follow certain streamers? Does he follow you? Does he care that you're a streamer? Does it affect his life at all? Like, how does he see you? And then how does that change your relationship with him? This whole video game thing, and like, because every kid I talk to is playing Fortnite and wants to talk about Fortnite and streamers on Fortnite.
It's pretty cool to have. So I never wanted kids. Okay. I always thought they would be a pain in the ass and not worth the trouble, and was never interested in it. But, I was married and it happened. He's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I've never regretted it. He's fucking amazing. He's a great kid. And as he got older, it just got better. Starting from about year 4, you start being able to play with him more and do more things with him that you can relate to as well. And now he's 9 now, and it's, again, it's going to get better, but you always worry about the teenage years. But he likes the fact that I stream. He tells all his friends that his dad's a streamer, even though, I'm not a big streamer.
Right.
But,
yeah.
He plays Fortnite a lot, and I'll play Fortnite with him, but I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And he follows a lot of YouTubers. He doesn't watch a lot of streams, which I think is better because you never know what people are going to say on streamers. YouTube has more content for kids. So he the other thing is he'll know a meme that I don't know, say something. I'm like, what are you saying? Mm-hmm. He's like, you don't know about that, and like show me a meme or something. Oh my god! So I'm like, now he's ahead of me on some of this stuff. But it's great. Yeah, like we play Dauntless together. We play Fortnite together.
Dauntless.
We play Minecraft together. We play a little Roblox together. And it's pretty great being able to play games together. And he loves coming to my house. I a lot of dads do like every other weekend, but I like to have him as much as I can because we get along really well. Yeah. And when I have to discipline him, he's really good about it. He listens to me. Unlike I hear his other family, having all these issues with him and stuff, and it's like I know what the problem is, but we won't get into it. It's like, but with me, he knows that when I tell him something, I mean it, and I'm not unreasonable with him, and I'm not unreasonable in his punishments. And when I punish him, he's compliant. He's a great kid.
That's awesome.
Me.
And then
he got a ban in a Minecraft game.
He got a what?
He got banned in this Minecraft server.
Okay.
And I wrote them an email because the reason on the ban was very vague, and the majority of what it said made it look like he was using third-party software. And I'm like, okay, I built his computer, and I know for a fact he doesn't have any third-party software on there or even know how to put it on there or use it. And I was like, so look, if that's the reason for this ban, it's absolutely wrong. This is his dad. He's 9 years old. But if it's because he was, trolling his own teammates and, killing his own teammates and stuff, that I understand, and, it won't happen again. But, you might still need to uphold the ban, and they upheld the ban. And it was
okay.
And then I talked to him about it, and he's like, yeah, I might have been doing that. So he was, killing, like knocking his own teammates off of things and killing them and stuff just to troll them.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just crazy to me to think that you're like, I'm going to write an email to someone to get my son unbanned from a Minecraft server. Like, could you imagine saying that sentence 10 years ago and be like, oh, I'll make sure to write this email so that my son on a Minecraft server doesn't have his ban. As like a person, I'm like, just go on their server. Like, who cares? Like, and what game is Minecraft? What? Like,
yeah, totally. Your parents would give a shit or even,
they'd be like, what's going on? What? Yeah. And holy crap, Minecraft, like, that game has so much updates on it that I don't even know that it's the same game. It looks very similar still, but like...
Yeah, I haven't kept up with the last couple of big ones. I know there's a whole bunch of underwater life now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sure what else they've done. But that's a great fucking game that I actually have a decent amount of hours in too, and I played it with some of my adult friends a long time ago. For a while too, and...
It's really interesting to talk to a kid that knows, like, certain. You were saying memes about your son knows that. I'll have kids that'll come in, and I work at Starbucks for anyone who's interested in knowing that. That they'll come in and they'll start saying things to me, and I'll know that it's not their idea they came up with. Like some kid came in the other day and he said, "Have you seen this video?" And I was like, "I know." And he goes, "But it's got 8 million views on YouTube." And I'm always like, "Who cares? Like, why would you?"
Yeah.
Like, or it's got 8,343 likes or whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, there's no way this kid actually cares enough to go look at the likes. He's probably another YouTuber that mentioned it and said, "Look at this," and then they parrot it. It's really interesting, this whole idea of video games and YouTube itself as well, and Twitch to a certain extent, how much it influences these kids and what they're doing in the next generation, and like the fact that people, it's not just like SpongeBob or Toonami or it's like random people from around the internet that you have no idea where are these people from. It's like impossible to tell, and how much influence they have over children is really interesting.
It really is, and it's been a difficult line to balance with my son too, because he wants to make YouTube videos, and I don't want to discourage him from it, but at the same time I want to try to protect him from
weirdos.
Yeah. So I installed OBS on his computer for him and taught him how to record videos, and I need to teach him video editing still too, because his videos are pretty bad. But
I'm trying to remember. There's a definitely an age limit on YouTube. You're not allowed to upload until you're 13, I think, or maybe 16. It might be.
I think it might be too, but
you can also disable all comments on them.
Yeah, because it's owned by Google, I'm not sure how it works. Because like my son's email account, I have like parental controls. Like anytime if he'll install anything on his phone, it'll let me know and stuff like that. And so they know it's a kid's account, and they still they've let him post YouTube videos. So maybe as long as it's linked to your parent and the parent says it's okay or something.
Maybe. Yeah, I would assume that the best way to go about that would be to make it all unlisted so that he could show all his friends it, but it wouldn't show up in a search or a function or anything. Like that's I'm just like spitballing how I would, but he'd probably be like, "No, I need to make it big, Dad. I'm going to be the next YouTuber. I'm going to be the next PewDiePie. You can't limit me." You
for sure.
I gotta imagine.
Yeah, that's my buddy acted. It's for the we're talking about the stream now, but we're in the podcast portion, so understand the podcast. So yeah, like his mom was, complaining to me that his name was on this and stuff, and I decided, I had to make some steps to change the name on it so that it wasn't attached to him. And actually, I had somebody comment on one of my YouTube videos. It was kind of weird, and I wasn't sure. It said, "Is this Colin Miller's dad?" And
it's like
I'm sure it's probably another kid that he said, "My dad is a streamer and this is my dad's channel," or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? And they want to just verify it or something, but it's still like to just see it as a comment on my YouTube. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah. Why do you want to know? Who are you? What do you want?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, dude, it's great to have a kid that or be able to relate really well with what you're.
If I ever tell a kid I'm a streamer, they think I'm like a god, and I'm like, what? You guys have no idea that I have like 100 something followers. Like it's not like they're like you stream, and I'm like, yeah. Like, do you play Fortnite? I'm like, no, I don't play Fortnite. They're like, oh, okay, never mind. I don't care that as much. If I played Fortnite, I'd be like just like every child, and I think there's a reason that I don't give a shit. Like, oh man, just how popular I could be with children if I played Fortnite. Like, that's not a drive at all. I have no desire for that. So it's really funny.
Absolutely. And the other thing is when you play a game like Fortnite, you're just so saturated too that
that's true.
You're only going to get kids trolling you and talking crap, or you're never going to get it.
Yeah. I honestly, when I streamed Command & Conquer Generals for like a couple days, I had so many people coming in being like, I remember this game, because I'm the only person streaming it. And I was like, who's checking the Command & Conquer Generals section to see if anyone's streaming it? I was like, who are these? Where do they come from?
Certain games, like when I stream Warhammer 2, sometimes I'll get a good amount of people watching just because nobody's streaming it and people love that game.
Yeah, there's just like 3 people streaming it or 1 person streaming it, and people will hop in. And it's not like a big stream or a ton of people or anything, but it just amazed me how quickly I actually had people talking because I was like, oh, Command and Conquer Generals. I remember this as a child. I'm like, yeah, me too. That's why I'm playing it.
Yeah. So talking about people talking as a streamer, that's for me, that's kind of a real difficult spot for me where I'm at. Like, I'm a talkative person, and if people are in my chat talking to me, I'll talk back to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not great at talking to myself when nobody's there.
Mm-hmm.
So like when nobody's talking, I'm kind of dead, and I kind of feel like I should be doing something more, and I don't know what that is. Talking to myself, I guess. I don't know, but like, if I feel like if I had a more active chat, I'd be better because I'd be able to talk back.
Yeah, they give you stuff to bounce off them. It's
absolutely
it's a give and take kind of thing. But I also think about it as if, for me, I think about it as a street performer, and the fact that you have an audience, and yes, you could totally go up to them and interact with them and talk to them, but they're there to see you and see what you do. And so I kind of come at it from that angle, and that I should just obviously keep talking constantly, but saying something entertaining. So like what I usually do, and this is playing WoW or Heroes, is I'm thinking aloud my mindset. And I do this now almost everywhere I walk, and it's kind of off-putting, I think, for some people. Like, I'll be in the grocery store, and I'll just be like, we need lettuce. Yes, lettuce is what we need.
Idea. That's great. You know what? I need to start doing that IRL all the time, too. That's a great idea. So you get to practice that.
But like, I don't do it intentionally. I don't mean to like practice. It's become such a habit now to just talk to myself constantly and like try to put it into a strategic, like, and we're gonna go take lettuce and let's make sure we go to the lettuce aisle. I mean, I don't think I do it this bad. I'm not, but I do say, I need lettuce. Okay, let's get lettuce. But like, to the point where I could be like, we need lettuce. Okay, lettuce is on aisle 1, but we're on aisle 17. How do we get to lettuce aisle 1? We're not going to have to go past all these aisles. If we go down the back end, it looks like there's less traffic back there. Let's go back there, and just constantly talking. Like, let's just say something so that there's an interesting something going on. So that if someone wants to talk, they can be like, I would take the back aisle. Yes, the back aisle is a great idea. Good job. Good. And you're like, you give them something to bounce off because they're there to relax, and either they can go, take a dump with your stream still on and not have to type anything.
For sure.
So for me, it's just the idea of being a street performer, because I was listening to another podcast with Eddie Izzard, and he would talk about, he would set up for his street performances because he was a street performer for a while. And what he would do is he would just talk to the crowd for 2 hours. He would just talk to the crowd about whatever was on his mind. He would just talk. And he goes, and he was talking, and in my head, he was talking about street performance, but it sounded exactly like Twitch streaming. Because he was talking about the fact that people don't have to stay. People can walk up, they can look at you, they can listen to you for 3 seconds, and then they can walk away, and they'll never see you again, and they don't care. And they have no reason to stay, have no reason to need to, or whatever it is. And he would say that he would just spout nonsense until he got a big enough audience, and then he would start his show, whatever his show was. And I was like, oh my God, that's Twitch streaming. That's literally what Twitch streaming is just you're a street performer, but you're online. You're not standing on a street, you're standing on an internet pathway.
Yeah, and so back to we were talking about why I started streaming, or when I started streaming. So I was playing with a lot of people that were streaming, and they encouraged me to start. And they actually, the one thing that helped a lot is they supported me a lot when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. I mean, I hit affiliate within a month of I think it might have even been less of my starting streaming. And they supported me a lot. And I think the other thing that I just decided I'm going to be playing games anyways. I'll just throw it up there and see what happens.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get depressed and down and stop streaming when their numbers are dwindling or when something happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm kind of torn between. I feel like a lot of that's because they put a lot into it, and it probably deserves to have a lot put into it. But from a casual approach like I have to it, if it doesn't succeed or if I don't have a great night, it's not a big deal. It doesn't get me down. I'm like, I'm just playing my games anyways.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of always been my approach, and why I don't get down when I don't have a lot of viewers is. It's because of that, but at the same time, it's not like I'm not trying to improve it at all. I do work on it. I've got some friends that help me out with emotes. I actually just got a couple new emotes as well. And
nice.
Yeah.
I got to change my emotes. I got my 2 old emotes that I think my one emote's okay. My one of them not so much. I got to work on those.
Yeah, actually, because I have so many friends that know me, and when people get to know me, I think they generally like me. And then they support me, and they support me so much that I'm surprised. I don't always have a lot of viewers, but I do have a lot of support still. To the point where like I'm amazed that I have 7 emote slots.
Oh wow, yeah, I still have 3. I'm like I affiliated.
Yeah, that's what it's. Yeah, and it blows me away, and it's thanks to people like Actinium 12.
Wow.
And Sopia's Waffles, and people that really believe
awesome.
in me and show me their support.
Yeah,
and,
I affiliated a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I started streaming in like a February, over a year. Whatever the February, not last February, but the one before that.
Right, and I feel like you're a better streamer than me.
Thank you, I appreciate it, but I'm not very consistent. That's my biggest thing is I'm not always online every day.
And that does make a huge difference because when GTA 5 RP took off, I got really into it. Like I was laughing my ass off going with this soap opera for a long time, and I didn't stream for like 3 weeks hardly at all, and then I dropped off, and then I started back up again, and I almost kind of had to rebuild from nothing again. Because when you're there all the time, people are going to be there, and if you stop that, or if you're not there that often, people don't show up as much.
Yeah, I just heard someone talking about a streaming. They said, if I'm not there every day, people are going to change their routines, and they're going to look for it. So someone comes and they today, let's say they join my stream right now, and they look and see and say something that I'm talking about, and they like it. They'll show up tomorrow, maybe around the same time. If I don't stream the next day, they're going to show up to my stream. Nothing's on. They have to look somewhere else for entertainment because I'm not online. So they're going to find something else that's entertaining, and they might sit there, and it'll change the way. And they might forget to look back and go, oh yeah, Jamin, who was I looking at 2 days ago? Oh, I don't know, whatever. This other guy, the new guy's on, and so there's just a lot of pressure to be on. But to me, I'm not going to let myself take that pressure on psychologically. Like I'm going to do the best thing that I can do for me, for my time. Like I want to see results. So I've been, this podcast is one thing I'm doing to try to get more results. I want to have a permanent online presence. The podcast is there for that. It's for a permanent, allowing people to know who I am when I'm not online, to give them content to look forward to every weekend, every Saturday. Oh, Jamincast is out. Hell yeah. And that's the hope. And then Twitch streaming, I try to do it as often as I can, and I think I've done like 90 hours this month now, which has been the first time I've done that in a while. Also, not dating anyone is a really big deal. It helps a lot to give my time to the stream.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, and then what else happened? That's it. And then switching my schedule at workout, actually allowing my work schedule to change so that I have times to stream. Before it was like kind of everywhere, and now I've had specific days that I don't have work at night, so I know I can stream those days, and that's exciting. It's streaming has been this like really good thing for me, and because I've playing these games anyway, like you said. And I feel like I have to have a reason to be playing them. Like I can't just keep playing them forever. Eventually, they need to do something for me. There needs to be a reason I'm getting so good at Heroes. Like there needs to be a reason that I am playing these games and enjoying them. And I remember podcasting as Cataclysm, and I'm just excited to do the same. To keep putting my foot out there to create content for people, because I love these games and I love video games. And I want to share that with people. And so it's been amazing these last couple weeks getting the podcast going and getting people on, and just being able to talk about video games is such a dream. And it's been great.
Absolutely. I agree. I need to work on what you were talking about. Just bringing your inner dialogue out.
Yeah, just talking constantly. I for me, it's like I think in metagames, so for Heroes, I'm always like, what we need right now is to not die, basically, and that's basically the easiest one to say constantly. Is like, hey, that guy is out there, and it's the same thing that you do
I was thinking if it's kind of like if you're teaching somebody new to play, almost just you're just instead of telling them what to do, just tell them what you're doing and why.
Yeah, like, oh, I kind of want to see if I can get this XP up top. Let me type in my team real quick. Oh, here we go, typing out. Hey guys, gonna soak one more wave or whatever, and then but those things that you can't say to people always, you kind of just saying like, all right, let's see if I can get this wave. I hope my team doesn't engage down bottom, and then of course if your team engages, you have even more content for your stream. Be like, oh, they engaged, no, don't they know we're 45? And then you have to go down there and try to save them before they die completely. But things like that, just constantly speaking out loud what you're doing, unless you have someone else to talk to, and then you can just enjoy that moment, enjoy those interactions with other people.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I think back, I wasn't a social child. I was picked on a lot. I had a real tough childhood, and then actually after business school, when I started my business, I had to become more social in order for the business to succeed.
Yeah.
So I went out and did a whole lot of community stuff and met a whole lot of people in the community to get the name out there. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was a natural at it. And people have told me tell me I'm really personable, I'm really good when and in person I am. Now, and I don't. It kind of feels forced, but at the same time, it comes naturally to me nowadays. And I don't know how well that translates in streaming for me at the moment because, like what we were talking about, the inner dialogue thing, I need to get better at that. But I think that has helped me a lot because I was a social retard up until I was 20 or something.
Yeah, I was very similar, and I think streaming actually has made me better at socializing. I honestly. For Starbucks, when I worked there, like before I would talk to people, what do you want? Yes, got it, good. I've kind of just come into my idea that I'm pretty entertaining. People seem to enjoy talking to me and listening to me and watching me. And so I'm going to entertain these people coming into Starbucks just because it's fun and I get to practice the same thing I do on streaming. I get to practice at work. I get to practice on these people coming in. And it's going really well. It's been the last, especially because when I have a positive outlook on life, when I have these podcasts, is honestly made me super positive everywhere I go. I'm like, podcast, it's here, podcast. And it's been great.
Positive outlook is very, very important indeed. Man.
Yeah. People are like, hey, how's your life going? I'm like, fucking great, buddy. How are you? Like,
even if it's not true.
Yeah.
We could sell that. Hell yeah, dude. Like I said, I often overshare. And if anybody asks me stuff, I'll tell them to my own detriment. Sometimes it's some things I probably shouldn't always say that I
gotcha. Yeah,
do.
I feel the same. I'm very similar. I'll talk to my coworkers and I'll just be like telling them all my problems, and then I'm like, and then they'll ask me about them like a week later. I'm like, oh, why did I tell you about that?
Yeah,
like that stays kind of personal. I probably should filter myself a little bit better.
Definitely, man. Yeah.
The last thing I want to ask you is about games going forward in the future. So like I mean obviously there's a couple things coming out. There's classic WoW obviously, but is there any games you're looking forward to? Is classic WoW the only one, or is there more?
The game world recently has been pretty disappointing in general.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I haven't seen much that's really impressed me. I'm kind of excited to look at Cyberpunk a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I mean they made Witcher, right? The same people who made Witcher 3.
Yeah, and it might be good.
Is that right? Did I do it? I think I.
I'm not sure if they did. I'm not sure about that.
No, I'm gonna. Okay, who's making?
King Novid says yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
It looks pretty cool, and I'm sure I'll check it out. And definitely, WoW Classic, definitely hyped about that.
Mm-hmm.
But just so many of the games, like I'm so used to being disappointed by all the games, it's hard to get excited for anything.
Yeah, I agree. And the games, even like Cyberpunk, I'm like, oh, that looks interesting if they make a good game. Like that'll be a good game if it's a good game. Like I don't think
exactly.
I'm not like, wow, do you see that?
Because it's all this. There's just so much flash, and you never know if the substance is going to be there. And that's the same thing with films today too. You know, it's just there's a lot of flash there, but does that equate to a good game?
Yeah.
Kind of got to wait and see.
That's it's something that I think is true in all media and everything that happens is that we look back and we go, look how the games we used to play, and you look back and you see the decades of certain games. You say, oh, look at Mario and Sonic and the games we used to play back, and then games today are garbage. But you see the same thing about music. You go, look at these music we used to play and listen to, and it was so good, and now it's garbage. It's not true, because what happens is every day new music comes out and every day garbage is released. But once a decade or once every 5 years, something beautiful comes out. I mean, look at God of War. The newest God of War came out, and I still haven't played that game, but I've heard so many amazing things. I really need to go back and play that. There are games that come out that are just gems among all the turds. There's turds everywhere. And so it's going to be, it's one of those things where you look back and you go, look how amazing games used to be. And games are amazing now still. They just have to come out and you have to play them and they'll be enjoyable. I think Super Smash is a wonderful game. And
the thing about those two is those games were great at the time. Today, while they're still fun to reminisce on and play again sometimes, there's better stuff now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
and most of their draw is nostalgic, and so they were great for that period of time. We're all just waiting for the next thing, and you never know what it's going to be.
And going back and playing Command and Conquer Generals has never proven that more right.
Right, dude. I did that too with Command and Conquer Red Alert, and I think I played a little Tiberian Sun, which I think were before Generals.
They were.
Yeah, so I used to I used to play PC games back in the day too. Actually, Starcraft. Oh, I played the shit out of Starcraft.
Yeah,
man.
Same.
I was really fucking good at that game.
I was not good. I was not good. No, I played it.
I think I was good, but if you put me up against a Korean, I'm sure I get destroyed.
Yeah, I put in cheat codes and I played against bots only. Like I never did.
Oh no, I played online against people with Starcraft.
If I ever played online, it was against my brothers and they would destroy me. And then I was.
I think that might be the 7-year difference there as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure, because I played Starcraft too a ton.
What were you, like 10, 12?
When did Starcraft come out? 99?
Did it?
Was it
99? I don't know exactly. Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm guessing. But if it was 99, I was 10 years old because I was.
But I remember playing it when it was on. I played it a lot, even when it was, for quite a while after it came.
And then you had to make the Brood War Spawn copy on a second CD so that you could actually play against other people in LAN, but not without having to buy a second game. But that version didn't have the campaign in it, so you could only play multiplayer and you could only play on network. You couldn't play online if you had the Spawn copy.
I never got the Spawn copy. I bought so many copies of that game.
Yeah, we definitely had multiple copies of that game, but there was an actual version you could do that you could spawn a copy on someone's computer, and then you didn't need the CD anymore. I think you could just install the game. You didn't need the CD anymore, but as long as somebody else was running the game, they would host it, and your copy would be able to LAN network with them.
Okay, so it came out in 1998, March 31st, 1998.
Okay, yeah, I was. If it was Starcraft before, and then Brood War must have come in like 2001 or 99. But yeah,
or 2000.
One of those years. Yeah, it came out at a certain point in time. There was Starcraft, and then there was another point in time where there was Starcraft Brood War.
So I was like 16, 17 when it came out. Then
for sure, my brain was still like, "What is this? What's happening?"
Yeah.
I was going from playing Muppets on my floppy disk to.
And I had an older brother that played it as well, and I would play against him, and that was fun. And then he also would destroy me usually, but later on I got pretty good.
Yeah, and there was no looking up guides or anything. It was like, I don't know what's happening, so okay. It was like the guides were so few and far between.
Well, and I actually didn't. I preferred playing the original over Brood Wars because I had such strong strats down for the units that were available from the original game.
So you had the overpowered. You knew the overpowered strategy. And,
yeah,
and
I could very easily.
Yeah.
I
can't play this.
Shift.
I can't play this.
Shift from a rush to a full build as needed. Really
okay. I thought you were going to say like I can't play a balanced game. I have to only play the unbalanced version. I can only play with the unbalanced units that are really strong.
No, it was just more. There was more options to counter things. So there was just more things to to worry about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I had everything that was in the original game. I had counters ready for. I could deal with them. But all the Blood War stuff, while I understood it, it just meant more variables to have to balance.
Yeah. The game definitely got more complicated. It was lurkers and then they had devourers, and I'm just thinking of all the new units that they came out, Corsairs, and there was definitely a whole new level to the game.
And at this point, I get Starcraft 2 units mixed up with Starcraft 1. I gotta remember exactly which ones were only in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and even in Starcraft 2, you don't know what's in the game because Wings of Liberty did not have lurkers, and I think lurkers are now in the game in Legacy of the Void. I think Heart of the Swarm they came back. It's just crazy. And then they took
I also played a ton of the mini games.
All the
custom games, dude. Runling Run and.
Yeah, Runling Run was great. And then my cousin, who was the first person I interviewed on the first podcast, he used to make StarCraft Brood War custom maps. I remember him making RPGs and making. They made a Starship Troopers survival game and all sorts of things. I may have played that. Yeah, I don't think I don't think it was the one that was popular at the time or anything, but it was like a clone of that. Like they made their own version, and it's just. Cool. I remember just loving StarCraft, especially the editor and making your own stuff. And then in StarCraft 2, I actually made a map, and it's still up there. It's a melee map called Lava Corridors. And when you take over a watchtower, it raises all the lava on the map.
So it progressively gets higher and higher.
Yeah. No, it just raises it between off and on. So if you leave the tower, the lava goes back down. So like there's roots that are underneath the lava, but if you step on a tower, it raises all the lava. I think it might be the opposite. If you step on it, it might lower the lava. I don't remember exactly, but that was fun. And creating, literally, I just remember creating stuff. It's just been a part of my life, and video games honestly have been part of it for so long. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and this has been a pleasure. This has been great. I think this will be my longest interview I've done so far, and I think it's probably one of my best.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
I'm very excited to thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Everyone, if you haven't followed him yet, go to twitch.tv/Milledtime and follow Milledtime on Twitch. Follow him and watch him. He's a great person to watch. Jammin', oh, jammin'. You're listening to Jamincast. All right, everyone. That's Jamincast episode 4. Before we go, I want to do a little house cleaning, a little things that I would like you to do for me if you could. If you go on iTunes and leave a 5-star review, I will read them out on there. On the podcast. Next episode, if you give me a 5-star review, I'll read it out. I want to hear what you got to say. If you like the podcast, please tell me. If you don't like the podcast, go ahead and tweet about it. Send me a Twitter. Or send me a message somehow. Find out. Please tell me what you want, what you like, what you don't. You've stuck it out this far, so I appreciate it. Twitter.com/JaminTheShaman, or is it @JaminTheShaman? And then Twitch.com/Jamin. YouTube.com/JaminTheShaman. Basically, look up Jamin and Shaman, and you'll find a way to find me. I appreciate it, guys. Have a great night. Have a great life. And have a great morning.